Welcome to the Third One channel, where today we're ranking the main characters of the shows Drake and Josh, iCarly, Zoey 101, and Victorious. The criteria for the rankings are my own personal preference, which characters I like the most, plus how well I think the characters are written. And without further ado, we got 20 main characters to go through. We're going from starting from 20, going all the way up to 1. And let's start with number 20, which is Cat Valentine. So I don't have anything against my top 20, really. I don't even really dislike Cat Valentine, but she does end up at 20 because she doesn't really have much of a character arc. She just she's a little inconsistent throughout the series. In the beginning, she's a little more original and has more of a character, and she just gets progressively more dumb. So I guess that's a big negative with Cat, and otherwise, she is funny. Sometimes she comes up with a funny random thing or whatnot, and she's a great singer, but she just doesn't have so much going for her in terms of writing as well, and she's just not one of my favorite characters. And let's move on to number 19, which will be Quinn Pensky. So Quinn Pensky in the beginning of the series of Zoey 101 for me was quite annoying, especially in like the first two seasons where she just experiment on people without asking them, and they'd be pretty harsh sometimes. And she got better with time. I think that one thing that happened with Quinn is that she matured throughout the show, and I think that was a conscious decision. So she gets a bit of a hand up on Kat because of that. And I do like her different relationships and what she goes through, but for me, this is more like a maybe personal preference thing. I don't love Quinn in terms of a character. Maybe it's just the whole annoying thing in the first two seasons. But moving on, number 18, we got Beck Oliver. So Beck Oliver, in terms of likability, I think he's quite likable, but in terms of like character writing, there's episodes where he's just not in the episode and you won't even notice. There's plenty of episodes where he's not in and you just don't notice. But in terms of his role in the show, is he a leader? Kind of. What is his role? He's best friends with Andre, but we don't really get any episodes really centered around them being best friends. But we do get episodes with him and Jade, and their relationship is a big focus in the series. So what can I say about Beck? He's likable, but his character, he's just kind of there. So I can't really put him any higher than 18, but I do like Beck as a character, just kind of chill guy in the back, right? So next up, we got number 17, we got Zoey Brooks. And there's nothing like inherently wrong with Zoey. It's kind of like the lack of anything extraordinary about her. I guess her one big extraordinary ability is to problem solve, and we get to see that throughout the show. But as a main character, she's kind of there. She's just this ordinary girl, and it doesn't really work in her favor in this show. The highlight is her relationship with Chase and that back and forth friendship, and I love that. But to me, Zoey just isn't that special, and I think that she's kind of boring for a main character. But this is maybe just personal preference. The writing, I think, also could have been better. They could have written in some more flaws for her. So next, we got number 16 with Tori Vega, which I think is a similar case, but I think it is quite a bit of a better lead. But she struggles from some of the same things. The rest of the cast sometimes outshine her. Her talent is the singing, and she does some acting, but she just kind of lacks that, I don't know, she's just too ordinary. Like, I think a lot of the girls in these shows, especially the leads, are just very ordinary. I don't know what to say, but she does have this ambition, and she's quirky at times, but yeah, personally, number 16. Next up, we got Sam Puckett, number 15, and let me just cough real quick. I'm a bit sick. So Sam Puckett, what can I say about Sam Puckett? So I don't really like the way she acts. I do have to say that I think she's a fairly well written character, although some of the plot lines for her are really bad. But in terms of her struggles with her parents at home, and her kind of rudeness and not knowing how to act in public and all this, I think it's actually quite interesting, and a lot of things add up the right way if you look at them. But do I like Sam Puckett? a little bit. She's not my favorite character, but I do appreciate what she does in the show. So I definitely like her more in the earlier seasons than I like her in the later seasons. In the later seasons, especially like season 5, it gets weird and not so good, especially with the whole SETI stuff. So yeah, for her, number 15. Moving on, we got number 14, Lola Martinez. So I know this is a big fan favorite, but I try to justify putting her any higher than this. And her big trait is like she's quirky and she's likable, in a similar manner to Beck. But what does she add to the show, like in terms of the character dynamics and the friend group? She adds more than Beck, but it's not much more. She's a great actress, and that's really fun to watch. But other than that, I can't really put her higher than 14. But I do like Lola a lot. Next up, we got number 13. We got Andre Harris, who is kind of like a supporting character for Tori, and just this really nice, friendly, bubbly guy in the group, who is a very talented musician. So, he gets an edge on Beck because he just is more involved in the plot, and I just like his character a little more. Like, he has that same chill vibe, but he adds just a lot more to the group with the music and some funny jokes and his grandma and whatnot. So yeah, who doesn't like Andre? He's great, and all the performances we get with Tori with him are fantastic. Moving on, we have number 12. We have Megan Parker. So Megan Parker is one that I see a lot of people hate on, and I try to justify putting her any lower, but I think that she's actually quite a fun character, and every time she pulls one of her pranks, I'm laughing both at the brothers, but also I'm kind of like thinking, oh damn, that was smart. Like, I don't know, there's something about Megan Parker which that kind of sass, especially towards the end, later seasons, which I find just really entertaining. I understand that she's like mean for no reason, but I don't know. I just like Megan Parker. Okay, this is my list. Moving on, number 11, we got Jade West. So originally, I think I've done similar videos and like a tier list, and I put Jade West quite high every time, but I've started to think now, like, what is how good of a character is she? Like, what how did they write her? What's her purpose? And I came to the conclusion that it's just more of a likability thing. I think she's got a lot of charisma, but there's in terms of her character, it's pretty straightforward. She has these issues with Beck. She has issues with her father, and she lashes out towards the rest of the gang and other people because of probably self-esteem issues. But that's a fairly, fleshed out trope already. But other than that, I think that Jade West is just really likable, at least for me. And I know a lot of people in the fan base like Jade West, but maybe she's a little overrated. But I think number 11 suits her well. That's quite high on the list already. Moving on, number 10, topping, we're cracking the top 10 now. What's number 10? We got Michael Barret. So Michael Barret, I put so high because he's like the ultimate best friend. And like in a way that, for example, Zoey never really showed. Maybe it was the acting, or I don't know, but Michael Barret, like, he just has that friendliness and always ready to help that best friend, like especially with Chase and romantically. Also, he's friends with Logan, but with Chase and Michael, that kind of connection of they do a lot of things together and they help each other out. And Michael's just this funny guy, and I don't know how to explain it. He's just he's that best friend, I can't. He plays it perfectly. I don't know. And in terms of writing, um, he's a kind of nice counterpoint to Chase in terms of a different kind of like nice guy. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, they kind of label him as a class clown, but I don't really see it that way. But moving on, number 9, we have Logan Reese, which I think, for a lot of the same reasons as Michael is here, and they're also friends. But the reason why he edges Michael out is because I think that the writers did a brilliant job in taking the kind of money trope, rich guy trope, and actually making it useful in the show. Like, it enables them to take these crazy trips that usually cost a lot of money, or create scenarios like Jet X where Logan's using money and the rest of the gang isn't, and they're having competition. And I don't know. I just think that Logan is this, even though he is kind of portrayed as this douchey guy, I think he has the charisma and he's quite cool, and I just think he fits in the show perfectly. Without Logan, I think that things would be very kind of too what's it called, too friendly, too nice. So Logan's this perfect counterpart. And for example, Dana did not do that very well. So Logan is great. Moving on, we got at number 8, we got Carly Shay. So Carly is difficult to place for me, but in terms of leads, I think that Carly is, in female leads, I think that Carly is the best one. In terms of writing, well, none of them really have any kind of profound importance in terms of writing. They're all fairly static characters, and I just think Carly's the most interesting of the three when you think about Zoey 101 and like Zoey and Tori and Carly. I think Carly's the most interesting one. I've always found her the most likable one, and just her quirkiness, and then her different kind of like her want to be smart, her relationships with guys, and how it's always tumultuous, or the birthday curse. There's just these little things that make Carly just a more detailed character. So those are my thoughts on Carly. Moving on, number 7, we got Robbie Shapiro, and that makes him our highest Victorious rated character, and purely from a writing standpoint on this one, because Robbie Shapiro, I don't think he would be my favorite. I wouldn't say he's my favorite Victorious character, but from a writing standpoint, he's genius. I think he's this kind of lonely, shy, maybe nerdy guy who has found a different persona through this ventriloquist puppet, and he's very talented. And I think that there's just so much depth to his character that I just had to put him up here. I think he's like beyond these Nickelodeon shows in terms of writing. And I think that there's just a lot to analyze with Robbie Shapiro. I think that, there, for example, in the character Robbie Razzi, Robbie kind of betrays his friends as well. So the moment he got that little bit of popularity, he was ready to betray his friends, and there's just all these different dynamics, and there could be a whole video on Robbie, but I think he's a well-written character. That's why I put him so high. Moving on to number 6, we got Gibby. And you know what? I know Gibby might not be the best written character or whatever, but I just love Gibby. He's the character that makes me laugh the most. I know that maybe makes my sense of humor kind of dumb, but just watching him brush his teeth with mayo, saying strange words in that one episode, for example, or just so many moments with Gibby that make me laugh. But I did want to bring up that he does have a character arc, which a lot of characters don't have. For example, in Victorious, like almost none of those characters have character arcs, including Robbie. But Gibby starts out as this like kind of weird, chubby kid, and he keeps, his weirdness kind of moves into kind of like this macho-ness, which sometimes can be portrayed kind of weird, but I don't know, he just gains this kind of almost like Italian macho-ness, and he starts making food and all this. I don't know, he becomes this like ladies man almost. I just love Gibby's character. I think it's he's underrated in terms of the writing as well. Moving on, at number 5, we got Spencer Shay. So Spencer, in terms of like a writing standpoint, is he better than Gibby? Maybe not, but this is, I guess, personal for me. I always thought that he kind of made the show so heartwarming with all of sculptures, and I know a lot of the laughing, like a lot of the things that made Spencer funny was just him screaming. Like if you watch an episode of iCarly and you like tally down what parts made you laugh every episode, you'll see how many times it was just Spencer screaming that made you laugh, or like his ability to set things on fire, or how nice he is to Carly, and how much of a genuine kind of guardian he is, who's just super chill. I don't know how to say it. I'm not talking about the reboot, by the way, just the original, but Spencer is just goated for me in terms of, I don't know, comedy, just like this kind of non dialogue comedy. He's goated there. Moving on, at number 4, we got Drake Parker. So Drake, to his counterpart Josh, I think he's just, in terms of like why Drake is below Josh, it's just because I think he's slightly less well written. Like, what, this guy just gets lucky at everything, and he's good looking, and he never really really gets punished for his mistakes. Well, later in the seasons, he does have this arc where he does start to appreciate his family and his brother more and learn from his mistakes. But a long time in the show, he does not have that. And even at the very end, he'll still get away with stuff. He'll just maybe have matured a little bit. But those factors and his character growth compared to Josh's is just slightly less. Although having him at number 4 of the list still means that he's one of my favorite characters ever. I really like his character, and I think he's well written generally, but compared to Josh, he's a little worse. Number 3, we have Freddie Benson, and maybe I've been affected by the reboot, but I've always thought that Freddie is a very relatable character in terms of, like, you see him from episode 1 with his crush on the girl next door, and then it kind of develops and you see him gain more and more confidence, and you see him even get together with the girl and continue to help and develop these friendships with these people, and his life kind of gets better and better. I don't know how to say it. Like, I just think he's a very relatable character. He's very nice. He's never mean-spirited, and he's just genuinely cool, and I don't think enough people say that. Like, Freddie is cool. In the reboot, he has some work to do, but towards the end of the iCarly show, he's a cool guy, and all the help, and he's the one who basically made iCarly. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of Freddie. Moving on, number 2, we got Chase Matthews. So I don't know what it is about Chase. He's just got this crazy charisma without being mean, or kind of arrogant, or he's just this, like, really nice guy with charisma, and it's a form of, like, charisma and likability I haven't seen anywhere else before. But what really makes Chase is in Zoey 101 is that whole kind of arc of trying to tell Zoey that he likes her, blah blah blah, and nearing the end, all the crazy stuff that happens, and also his relationship with the people around him, like Lola or the previously mentioned Michael. I don't know. I have always kind of thought that Chase was just such a likable character. Like, there's no one who can not like Chase into like a further degree than, like, Andre, I don't know if you guys relate, but I also think he's a very relatable character in a similar way to Freddie as well. Moving on, at number 1, we have Josh Nichols, because he is comedy gold. He's very good at the whole facial expressions and making you laugh through that. You see him grow from this kind of nerdy kid who sits at home and writes these blogs to help out kids at school in a dress pretending to be a woman, and by the end of the show, he's a completely different man. He's grown, he's learned from his brother, he's gained confidence, he's learned to say no, he's learned to, like, kind of pursue what he wants to do, and it wasn't easy for him because he had to go through, like, Drake always got lucky, but he had to work for what he has, and he proved himself to his adversary Mindy, and they ended up together. And there's just this more of an arc with Josh, and, like, if you look at the beginning, even the weight loss, I know that that's not directly related to the character, but I feel like in a way it also is. Like, look at the first season, look at the last season, look at that growth for Josh, plus how funny he is, and that his part in the Drake and Josh duo is, I think, even more important, and so many amazing and memorable lines he has. And I don't know, Josh just, I feel like he is Nickelodeon's kind of most successful character ever, if I really had to pinpoint one. So, or maybe, like, in terms of live action, and like that SpongeBob or whatever. But yeah, that's my list. That's just me personally. Obviously, everyone's gonna have their own lists, so let me know what your favorite characters are. Let me know what your least favorite characters are. Did I miss any characters? I know I left a few out, but I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments which ones those were. I know which ones they are. I'm just gonna test you guys. But yeah, that's been the Third Win channel. Hope you enjoyed this fun little video, and I apologize for being sick. I know I had to cough a couple times, but I'll see you guys all very soon with a brand new video.